Akito woke before sunrise.
His room was quiet.
The walls glowed faint orange from the rising light outside. He sat up fast, heart pounding with excitement. Today was the day. His first Pokémon waited for him. He looked at the small clock on his desk. It read 5:32 a.m. His mother would not be awake yet, but he could not stay in bed. He threw off his blanket and stood. His legs shook. He pulled on his clothes, a dark blue jacket, black pants, and worn sneakers. He grabbed his backpack and zipped it. Inside were a few snacks, his empty Pokédex case, and a small notebook. He walked to the kitchen. The smell of food met him before he entered. His mother stood by the stove. Her hair was tied back. A pan sizzled. She turned when she heard his steps.
"You're up early," she said.
"I couldn't sleep," he said. His voice came out fast and bright. She smiled. "I figured."
"Sit down."
"Eat your breakfast before you go." On the table sat a plate of eggs and toast. A glass of orange juice glowed under the kitchen light. "I'm not hungry," Akito said. His hands twitched. He looked toward the window. Outside, the clouds were gold. "Sit," his mother said again. "You have a big day ahead. You'll need your energy." Akito sat. The chair legs scraped the floor. He ate fast, swallowing big bites, barely tasting the food. His mother laughed quietly. "Slow down, or you'll choke," she said. Akito finished and wiped his mouth. "Can I go now?" She nodded.
"Go.
But remember what I told you. Be kind to your Pokémon. They're not tools. They're partners." "I know." He stood and hugged her quickly. Then he rushed out the door. Pallet Town was small. The roads were narrow, lined with white fences and small gardens. Akito ran past them, his shoes hitting the dirt path hard. A few Pidgey flew overhead. Finally, he reached the top of the hill. Ahead stood Professor Oak's laboratory. A few lab aides were already inside, just starting their work inside the laboratory. Akito slowed down and caught his breath. His heart was still pounding out of his chest as he pushed the glass door open. A large table stood in the center with several Pokeballs lined up. Professor Oak heard the door swing open and turned from his paperwork on his desk. "Akito," he said. "You're early." Akito nodded. "I couldn't wait." Professor Oak smiled. "I can see that. Today's special for you." He motioned to the table. 3 Pokeballs sat in a triangle, but one was different. It was silver, smooth, and glowed faintly purple. Akito stared at it. "That one isn't like the others," Professor Oak said. "It's a rare Pokémon. It's very strong and independent. It's a gift from an old friend. She's powerful, but she needs understanding. Her name is Mewtwo." Akito blinked. "Mewtwo? The one from the stories?" Professor Oak nodded.
"Yes."
"She has agreed to start a new journey, but only with someone who treats her with respect." Akito hesitated. "Why me?" "You have something she needs," Professor Oak said. "Trust." He handed Akito the Pokeball. It felt cold in his palm. Akito pressed the button. The Pokeball opened. A flash of light filled the lab. The light gathered, shaped, and grew. Mewtwo stood before him. Mewtwo's body was tall and smooth. Her body shimmered faintly of a beautiful violet. Her eyes glowed blue, but her gaze was sharp. Mewtwo looked straight into Akito's soul. Akito froze. His chest tightened at the sight of Mewtwo's eyes piercing into his. Mewtwo looked at him. "You are the one?" Her voice echoed inside his head. Akito nodded. "Yes." She studied him. The lights in the room flickered. Then her voice softened. "You seem honest." Professor Oak watched them quietly. "She communicates through thought," he said. "You'll get used to it." Akito nodded again. "I'll do my best." Mewtwo turned slightly away. We will see. Professor Oak smiled. You two have much to learn together. Aikido, take these Pokeballs and this Pokédex. Your journey begins now. Aikido took the items. His hands trembled slightly. He looked back at Mewtwo. Let's go. She followed him out of the lab, silent and tall. Outside, the air was bright. The town was covered in warm sunlight. It was a bright and sunny day. Aikido felt the weight of the Pokeball belt on his waist. Mewtwo walked beside him, her tail moving slowly behind her. Her steps made no sound. Where do we start? He asked. She looked toward the horizon. Where the strong gather, she said. Strength will test us. Aikido smiled. Then let's train. She glanced at him. You will need more than courage. He laughed softly. I'll keep up. Mewtwo said nothing, but her faint smirk told him she might believe him. They walked down the path, when suddenly, a pair of Rattata ran across the road and vanished into the grass. Behind them, Professor Oak stood in the doorway, watching. He spoke quietly to himself. A boy and a legend. Let's see what they become. Aikido and Mewtwo moved toward the open road. Aikido adjusted his backpack, feeling the weight of the Pokédex and extra Pokeballs. Mewtwo walked beside him silently. Her movements were precise. Every step was perfectly measured. Aikido tried to match her pace, but his legs were not as steady as hers. They reached a clearing near a dense forest. The grass was too tall, so Aikido pulled out the Pokédex to scan the area. Several wild Pokémon were nearby. Pidgey flitted in the trees. A wild Spearow appeared at the edge of the clearing. Aikido looked at Mewtwo and nodded. Then Aikido pointed at the Pokémon and sent Mewtwo into battle. Aikido focused. He had read about Pokémon battles, but never participated. He tried to issue commands, but his voice trembled. Mewtwo tilted her head, watching. A wild Rattata dashed forward. Aikido panicked and shouted a command. Mewtwo raised her hand. A psychic wave rippled outward. The Rattata froze mid-step, suspended in the air. Mewtwo released it gently, letting it fall safely into the grass. He tried another command, thinking of the energy inside him. Mewtwo mirrored him, focusing the power. He realized training would not be simple. He could not rely on shouting or panic. He needed control. They spent hours in the clearing. Aikido ran alongside Mewtwo, practicing movements. Occasionally, she created psychic shields to protect him when his focus wavered. He began to understand the bond required. Strength was not just physical. Soon, the first real battle approached. A trainer appeared on the path. He released a Machop that looked confident and quick. Aikido's hands trembled as he called Mewtwo. The battle began. Machop lunged. Mewtwo deflected with a wave of psychic energy. Rocks lifted into the air, swirling around Machop. The Machop ducked, countering with a punch that shattered the rocks. Aikido's heart skipped. Mewtwo dodged effortlessly, but he felt the danger. He tried to issue another command, focusing on the psychic link. Mewtwo paused, reading his intention. Then she struck, energy forming into a controlled blast. Machop was lifted, thrown back, but barely escaped. Aikido realized the fight was close. He panicked, and Mewtwo sensed it. She created a small psychic bubble, enveloping him. Inside the bubble, he could breathe, focus, and think clearly. Outside, Mewtwo battled with precise, controlled strikes. Her movements were clean. Every blast, every shield, every telekinetic move placed Machop exactly where she wanted. Aikido watched through the psychic shield. He could see her strategy, anticipate her next move, and learn from her control. Slowly, the bubble lifted. Mewtwo extended her jaw, and the bubble floated gently into her mouth. She closed her mouth carefully, enclosing Aikido inside. The world shrank to light and air, weightless and calm. Mewtwo's control was absolute. She guided the battle with exact timing. Outside, Mewtwo faced Machop. Machop tried to retreat, but Mewtwo's psychic blasts lifted him into the air. Rocks, dust, and energy swirled around. She struck again. The Machop landed, exhausted and defeated. The trainer recalled him. Mewtwo opened her mouth. The bubble floated out. Akito stepped free. His legs wobbled, but he felt exhilarated. The weight of the Pokédex and Pokéballs pulled at him, but the memory of the battle stayed in his mind. Akito realized how much he had to learn. Training Mewtwo required focus, trust, and calm under pressure. Mistakes would be costly. Her strength was immense, but she guided him, protected him, and showed him the way. The sun was setting now. Mewtwo lowered herself beside Akito. Side by side, they looked toward the forest. Other challenges, stronger opponents, and wild Pokémon awaited them tomorrow. Akito tightened his backpack straps. The bond between them had deepened. Together, they would face the next trials. The next morning, Akito and Mewtwo awoke cuddling next to each other. They start making their way toward the first boss. The path to the boss cleared ahead. Akito walked, and Mewtwo hovered beside him. Suddenly, a shadow passed over them. The sky darkened for a moment. From above, a strange, high-pitched voice rang out. "Prepare for trouble. Make it double." A bright flash of light came from the sky. Jessie, James, and Meowth were all floating on their rocket. And to protect the world from devastation. To unite all peoples within our nation. To denounce the evils of truth and love. To extend our reach to the stars above, they shouted together, striking a pose as the rocket floated closer. Team Rocket had a plan. Their eyes were gleaming with mischief. Meowth leapt forward, claws out, aiming for Akito. He hissed, teeth sharp, voice quick. Sleepy, sleepy time for the kid. The bubble of psychic energy appeared instantly around Akito. Mewtwo could sense the fear inside Akito. Slowly, she extended her jaw. The bubble floated toward her mouth. Akito hesitated, then leapt, sliding into the light-filled sphere. Mewtwo closed her mouth with precision, enclosing him safely once again. And then the battle began. Mewtwo's psychic powers rippled through the clearing. Rocks were lifted and trees were shaking. Energy waves pushed Team Rocket back. Jessie and James tried to fire blasts, but Mewtwo deflected each attack with careful, controlled strikes. Meowth lunged toward Mewtwo's mouth, aiming for Akito's bubble. He clawed at the sphere, almost snatching it. Mewtwo's eyes glowed brighter. Then a wave of psychic energy pushed Meowth back, sending him skidding across the clearing. Jessie and James screamed in unison as their rocket device wobbled. Rocks flew in arcs, hitting the device and sending sparks. The rocket trembled, then flew off in a swirling pattern into the sky. Jessie, James, and Meowth tumbled into the sky with the rocket. Looks like Team Rocket's blasting off again. Mewtwo lowered her head slowly as the sun was setting. Her eyes softened slightly as she focused on the bubble around Akito. The bubble gently floated out from between her jaws. Akito felt the weight of the world return. He stepped forward as the bubble dissolved, landing softly on the grass. Mewtwo hovered beside him. Akito stepped forward and hugged her. A silent promise was made between them. Together, they would face all the Pokémon together, no matter what. Another night came, and together Mewtwo and Akito fell asleep in each other's arms. Akito was determined to fight his first boss with Mewtwo tomorrow. Akito woke to a soft weight against his chest. Mewtwo's arm was draped around him, eyes half closed, tail curling gently around his legs. The morning sunlight woke both of them up with gentle rays that warmed Akito's cheeks. Akito and Mewtwo made their way to the nearest Pokémon Center. Nurses greeted them with smiles. Mewtwo stepped onto the healing pad. Akito watched as energy flowed into Mewtwo in smooth waves. He could see Mewtwo's body tighten, then relax. Akito turns his head to look around for a phone. He dialed Professor Oak's number. Professor Oak's voice sounded brisk, alert. He described the first boss. The boss used fire and steel moves, strong against psychic types. Akito took notes in his head as he listened carefully. Professor Oak explained the requirements: speed, strategy, and perfect coordination between trainer and Pokemon. Akito was still learning what it took to become a trainer. So far, Mewtwo seemed to be training him. Akito knew he needed to be in control this time to win the battle. At first, he flailed. Mewtwo was confused at Akito's commands. Akito pushed him to use confusion. The attack misfired. Energy scattered into random places. They practiced all morning. Telekinesis, Psychic Blast, barrier moves. Each attempt improved slightly. Akito's control wavered. His frustration was growing. Across town, other trainers watched news of the boss. Brock prepared his gym, polishing rocks for stability. Misty organized potions and healing sprays. Each side prepared in their own way, the city buzzing with anticipation. Akito finally arrived at the first boss fight. Akito paused, still breathing heavily. Mewtwo crouched beside him confidently. He felt Akito's anxiety. Akito closed his eyes to focus. The arena loomed. Akito stepped forward, hand raised. Mewtwo followed silently. The fight began with a roar. Flames erupted. Akito focused on timing. He called out moves, clear and confident. Mewtwo responded instantly. Psychic energy lifted rocks, deflected fire, smashed steel. The first attack missed, but Akito adapted. Mewtwo moved with precision. Other trainers watched from the sidelines. Brock cheered quietly. Misty noted the boss's patterns. Their support mattered, but the fight was Akito's alone. The boss faltered. Mewtwo struck with one final psychic push. The boss toppled, smoke and sparks fading. Silence filled the arena. Akito's knees shook in disbelief. They stared at each other, chest heaving, eyes wide with shared triumph. Akito sank to the ground, leaning against Mewtwo. Relief and pride burned through him. The city erupted with cheers. Mewtwo nudged him gently. No words were needed. They had grown together through struggle. Akito's hands traced the outline of Mewtwo's face. They had mastered each other's strengths, weaknesses, rhythms. Akito had become more than a trainer. He had become a leader. Trainers studied the fight to learn how to have as strong as bond with their own Pokemon. Mewtwo had become more than a partner. They were a single force, ready for the next challenge. Akito moved in for a hug and pressed his body against Mewtwo's. Akito buried his face into Mewtwo's full chest. Akito could feel her calm strength sink into his body. Mewtwo wrapped her arms around him. Her eyes met his. They stayed close for a moment longer, hearts beating in sync. Mewtwo wrapped his arms around Akito, holding him close as the crowd faded into silence. Akito smiled against Mewtwo's chest, knowing this was only the beginning. He would become a Pokemon master, and Mewtwo would be with him every step of the way.